Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, good evening, welcome to this English news. Here are the top stories. Inaugurations of Djibouti for international free zone in presence of leaders of friendly countries. On international scene in Syria, southern rebels announce failure of talks with Russians. That were the top story, and now gets to the details. We start this paper with the inauguration of the International Free Zone of Djibouti, the largest international free zone on the African continent, covering an area of 48 kilometers square for a total cost of 3.5 billion francs, was inaugurated this morning by the head of state, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh. For more details, let's follow Hinda.
During this ceremony, the President of the Republic, with the First Lady of the country, Madam Khadra Mahmoud Haid, and several African leaders invited. This is the first phase of this gigantic infrastructure that was inaugurated this morning. This free zone is intended to receive goods in transit for the countries of the Sahel region, but especially to shoulder unity of the small industry, manufacturing or processing of market products. It will allow the Republic of Djibouti to begin its industrialization and to be no longer a country whose main income comes from the service economic or tertiary sector. The inauguration ceremony of this new free zone took place in the presence of many African leaders who honored their presence with this event, giving it a particular appearance. Among the personality invited to this ceremony were the President, the Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed Ali, the President of Sudan Omar Hassan al-Bashir, the President of Somalia Mohamed Abdullahi Mohamed, the Rwanda President Paul Kagame, the Chairman of the African Union Committee Moussa Faki Mohamed, the CEOs or representative of hundreds of companies that intend to settle on site also attended the ceremony, which demonstrates the importance of Djibouti as a gateway to the landlocked countries of the Sahel region. This free trade zone will eventually cover an area of 4.8 hectares. A total of 37 countries were represented at this grand ceremony, and the leaders of nearly 600 companies. Merchant products designed or manufactured on site are not subjected to any tax. They are mainly intended for export. Many economists have pointed out that this new free zone will offer 15,000 direct or indirect jobs. Djibouti will become the gateway for goods destined not only for Ethiopia but also for Southern Sudan, Somalia, and landlocked countries in the Great Lakes region of Uganda, Burundi, Rwanda. A small product from these countries will also pass through Djibouti port infrastructure. In addition to its storage activities in Chandel hangars, the site will also work on the head and light transformation from simple packaging to assembly of vehicle in the future of hydrocarbon. This great inaugural ceremony allowed the organizers to give a first glimpse of the companies that will work on the new international free zone through a private of young girls carrying placard on which are encrypted the names of these companies spotly installed there.
The memorable and symbolic moment of this ceremony was marked by the ribbon cutting, marking of the official launch of the activities of the new international free zone of Djibouti. This free zone is not far from the multi-surface port which was inaugurated last year. The President of Djibouti, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, the Prime Minister of Ethiopia, the President of Sudan, as well as the President of Somalia and the President of Rwanda and the president of the African Union Commissions, Moussa Faki, proceeded at the same time and side by side at the cut of the ribbon. It should also be noted that this event is widely covered by the international and African press, where accreditations has been granted to around 50 journalists. During an intervention pronounced on this occasion, the president of Poor and Free Zone, Mr. Abu Bakr Omar Hadi, detailed the ambitions of Djibouti and the role that country intend to play on the regional level to be an important commercial center, logistics and transit of goods. Let's listen the speech of the president of Poor and Free Zone.
I'm delighted today to be here with you for this important moment. We are not only gathering for the opening ceremony, we are gathering to celebrate a new stage in Djibouti's development as a regional and continental trade hub. A new stage that will diversify our economy and offer new opportunities. Djibouti has always been an important cultural and trade crossroad over the past decades, and we have built on long history to develop the world-class ports and multimodal facilities. Thanks to this new international free trade zone, we are on the move to the next stage to our national development. We are building a global model and sustainable trade hub for the coming decades. Djibouti's strategic location makes it an important gateway to dynamic African market. It's sat on one of the two busiest sea routes in the world. 19% of the trade is carried by sea, making it an important global trade hub. Is also a key node on the Belt and Road Initiative, one of the most ambitious infrastructure network in the world.
Many Chinese companies will operate in this international free zone to support the Chinese government Silk Road project. The Deputy Vice President of the Chinese Merchant Group and the Chinese ambassador posted in Djibouti recalled this objective, especially since Chinese investment in the Republic of Djibouti was massive.
Held the groundbreaking ceremony. I'm so glad to see such dramatic miracles in such a short period. First of all, I would like to express my gratitude to His Excellency Mr. President of Djibouti for his wise leadership and the full support from Djibouti government, your officials, and our friends. My special thanks to the partner, Djibouti Port and Free Zone Authority. We together have made such a great miracles and milestones. Thanks to the work team, making the concept to reality with your hard work, no matter how difficult the situation are.
Ces dernières années, sous la conduite du président de la République, Son Excellence Ismaël Omar Guelleh, Djibouti a fait valoir l'avantage de la
The African leaders invited to this ceremony have not failed to react. They immediately congratulated the head of state for his visions and his courage to want to transform and redefine the Djiboutian economy. He has great ambitions for his country. For example, Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed Ali said he was proud to participate in this ceremony as Djibouti and Ethiopia are inseparable partners in all the development projects launched and are working for regional economy integration. Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed added that President Guelleh and the people of Djibouti, by initiating this great project, are doing services not only to the region but to all Africa. It's of course a particular satisfaction for us brotherly people of Ethiopia, and we thank you very much. He will always be at your side, he said. The first Ethiopian recalled that every major project that Djibouti carries out is considered unique to Ethiopia, Djibouti being considered as a second country for Ethiopians. And the President of Somalia, in his address, the President of Somalia, Mr. Mohammed Abdullahi Mohammed Farmajo, congratulated the President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, for all his effort of the development of the Republic of Djibouti as well as the rest of the region of the Horn of Africa. This ceremony demonstrates the success of the far-sighted policy of the President of the Republic of Djibouti, who has set up a progressive political line consisting in carrying out major projects such as this fresh international zone, which is the largest in Africa. He said the Somali president dissatisfied the flying Republic of Djibouti to be among the most developing countries of the Horn of Africa in terms of economic and commercial development, taking advantage of the strategic zone in Djibouti that's located. Finally, the Somali president reiterated the continuous advance the fraternal relationship between the two brother countries in the different fields. The President of Rwanda, Mr. Paul Kagame, expressed his happiness to participate in this special speech of the President of Rwanda.
The inauguration of this very important facility that will not only serve Djibouti but also the wider region of our continent. So, President, I am very glad to be here to join you and the brothers, leaders from this region, and congratulate you to be behind you in realization of this project that I am sure may serve all of us, even as far south as Rwanda and beyond. So, President, mine was just to congratulate you, to be with you on this very important occasion, and to join the brothers who have also come here to join you. Thank you very much.
المنطقة الحرة في جيبوتي.
Mr. Omar Hassan Ahmed al-Bashir congratulated the President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, for all his effort in favor of the development of the Republic of Djibouti as well as the rest of the region of the Horn of Africa. This ceremony, he said, demonstrates the success, the far-sighted policy of the President, consisting in carrying out major projects such as this fresh international free zone, which is the largest in Africa. This testified the flying Republic of Djibouti to be among the most developing countries in the whole Africa in terms of economy and commercial development, taking advantage of the strategic positions it occupied. To close his speech, the Sudan President returned this congratulation to Djibouti in the different file. The President of the Republic pronounced an important speech on detail the ambitions of Djibouti and the role that country intends to play on the regional level to be an important hub center. Let's listen to the speech of the President.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. En avant-propos, je voudrais saluer et remercier les chefs d'État, mes frères présents aujourd'hui parmi nous.
First and foremost, I would like to greet you and thank the head of state present today among us for the honor and the friendship that they make us to be with us to the inauguration of the International Free Trade Zone, the largest free zones in Africa. Far from being the signs of a certain excess, this particularly of being the biggest trading area of the continent express two very important things. Firstly, it reflects China's willingness to invest in our continent, also great, and its prospect to putting into the long run. Secondly, it is a vision of development that our country put into practice and merge into regional integration, the only collective construction that brings solidarity and efficiency. These free zones want to be a common heritage in the service of the interest and the well-being of our people in the region. The creation of free zones is a global phenomenon that cannot be ignored by any country seriously engaged in global competition. The context of globalization is a major challenge that requires us to profoundly reform our economies, but also to coordinate the actions of our countries so as to actively contribute to the future of the global economy. The International Free Trade Zone, it is a flagship project that culminates a significant number of infrastructures of achievements that have emerged in recent years and which are in the direction of strengthening the place of Djibouti in trade and international exchanges. Free zones are known to be economic catalysis with consequent fallout. In this case, the expected economic impact of the International Free Trade Zone is a contribution of $200 million on the GDP, or 12% of the GDP in the pilot phase of exploitation of 2.4, but also are ramping up to the horizon of 2035 and 2040. And 2040, in its phase of extension, which will bring contributions of $2.5 billion to $4 billion respectively. It is also, and above all, a zone of hope for thousands of young job seekers with the generations of the pilot phase and 12,000 jobs that could eventually reach more than 350,000 jobs. Economists are formal. A job created in a free zone generates 2 other jobs outside. Now it is necessary to implement the conditions for success and transform this area into an effective lever of development. Our real and day-to-day actions must be directed toward creating an ecosystem that is conducive to investment and to the creation of a real export project, and also to remove any obstacle that could arise in the way of attractions and competitiveness of the Djibouti International Free Trade Zone. This requires flexibility and harmonious fiscal and regulatory conditions by looking for way and means to create outsourced activity, also called outsourcing, and this within the framework of the international outsourcing. In a regional dimension, it is to move toward more regional transport infrastructure, but also less constraint to the free movement of goods and people that would allow our free zones to play a useful role of interface between regional and global economy.
After the inauguration ceremony, the Africa-China Economic Forum and exhibitions was held at the Palace of the People to promote economic collaboration between Africa and China, especially between the private sector. For more detail, let's follow Mohammed.
Jointly developed by the government of Djibouti and China Merchants Group, announced its commencement of operation. China Merchants Group, as one of the investors and operators of the IFTZ, is looking ahead and designing a plan that can sustain for more than 99 years. Djibouti International Free Trade Zone is home to core businesses such as processing, manufacturing, commerce, logistics, and bonded warehouses. With its geographic location, Djibouti dedicates to a huge international market in Europe, Africa, and the Middle East. Integrated one-stop service and various preferential policies will be offered to enterprises in the park to attract foreign investment.
The President of the Republic, Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, offered this afternoon at the Presidential Palace lunch in honor of African leaders such as the Ethiopian Prime Minister, Mr. Abiy Ahmed Ali, the President of Sudan, Omar Hassan Ahmed al-Bashir, and the President of Somalia, Mohamed Abdullahi Mohamed Formaggio, and the President of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, as well as the chairman of the African Union Committee, Musa Faki Mohammed, the member of the government of Djibouti, such as the Minister of the Transport and the Minister of Higher Education and Research, and many representatives of civil industry around the world took part at this launch. And now on international scene, Southern Rebel announced failure of talk with the Russian. For more detail, let's listen to the report of Hinda.
At least 44 people were killed and scores wounded on Sunday in a suspected Russian airstrike on a grounded marketplace in Idlib province. Activities have told the strike hit the town of Ariha, which is controlled by the Army of Conquest, a rebel alliance which includes the Al-Nusra from the UK-based Syrian Observatory for Human Rights.
This is the end of this news edition. Thank you for watching us. Good night.